Hello? Can you hear me? Do I sound alright? Am I audible? Are things sounding good? Um. Hello, everyone. It's been a while. The lo-fi music that was playing was actually part of the OST of Rhythm Doctor. One moment, and I will drop the link in chat. Um. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome! It is a pleasure to be back within your presence. I know it has been a bit since I have streamed, and I am incredibly sorry for that. What's up, Tambo? uh, Basically, like, I I had a bunch of shit happen all at once, and it was Timbo! Timbo, you're so sweet. Oh my god, the sound alert didn't activate. No! Oh my god. Okay, 1 second. It didn't play for me at least. Did y'all hear it? Shut up about my squeak. Shut up. You're so mean to me. Okay. Okay. Just stop. Okay, so sound alerts are working. Maybe it got rid of that one sound alert for no goddamn reason because I thank you, Nat. Because I know it does. I know it does tend to get rid of like the gifs. Maybe it got rid of the sound as well. Um, One moment, please. It's channel points. Wait, no, not channel points. It was
Nice.
other alerts. There we go. What? Hey! Stop! Okay, glad to know it is working. Just shut up. I'm not squeaking. Fuck you. Okay, before I get distracted, okay, uh, uh, shit. Where am I? Where am I? I'm not popping up. Hello? Hey, there I am. Hello. So, Tambo, feed your dogs first, please. Stop it, Ren. Stop encouraging him. Thank you, Wolf Runner. Thank you. Um, the my brain has broken. Hello, everyone. Welcome in. Welcome. Um, I am it has been a long time since I've streamed and I am a tiny bit sorry about it. But there's a lot of shit that happened all at once and I only recently just got the itch to like really stream really badly. I but yeah, especially since this would be a game that I'm actually quite familiar with. Uh So, what will we be playing today? If you haven't read the title, we'll be playing a little one button rhythm game. Uh, oh sweet. One moment, I need to drop something. Hold on. I'm actually really familiar with Rhythm Doctor. I have played the game at least twice, 3 times. This is gonna be like my third time, although I've been trying to S rank it on one, like S rank all of them. Uh, to quickly answer your question, Wolf, it was just a lot of stuff, a lot of personal life stuff. Everywhere from just, hey, I thought I paused you. Sorry. Anywhere from family life stuff to just becoming really depressed, just a bunch of shit all at once. And it kind of made me not want to stream for a good few weeks. And I'm so super sorry about that. I know that it's like not a problem or anything like that, but I still feel like kind of bad for it. Uh, but yeah. Anyways, back to this. Um, I am actually super familiar with Rhythm Doctor. I have played this game quite a lot. It was my fixation for a good year, and yeah, uh, I'm just really hope that y'all are gonna enjoy this as much as I will because I've played this game before. Uh, so essentially, for a premise, it'll be explained later when I boot up the second save file because I don't want to use the same save file I'm using to S rank everything because then you won't see all the cutscenes. Um, I will say it has been quite a bit since I have last played it, so it will probably take me a good few minutes to get properly warmed up. Uh, so yeah, just I don't really know what else to say there. I just yeah, I I don't really know what to say. I just there you go, just flop it down. Um, I love this game, though it does have some medical theming to it. However, it is very good. Get your finger. Shut the fuck up, Ren. I love you, but please. Okay. I was actually really into this. I said this before, but I was really into this game when I was like in sophomore year of high school. No, junior year. I was really into this in junior year of high school, and oh my god, it's got some good shit, man. Okay. Let me. There we go. Alrighty. Rhythm Doctor features flashing lights and colors. If you experience dizziness or altered vision while playing, stop immediately and seek medical attention if needed. Please use caution if you have experience with epilepsy or any of its symptoms. Press any button to continue. You've been warned. If you struggle with epilepsy and stuff like that, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to sit this episode out. I I adore having you here, but I should put a flash warning up. I'm sorry. One moment. I'll also put it in a pinned message. Please pardon the hellhounds barking in the background. Hush, Tara. Oh my goodness. Alrighty. There we go. Manually unpinned or at the end of stream. Perfect. Alrighty. This is an early access version of Rhythm Doctor. It has been for quite a few years, but they have been slowly adding to it. So recently they actually added an Act 5, if I remember correctly. But, you know. You can expect to find bugs, crashes, incomplete interfaces, and other in-development things. Everything in the game could be subject to change, and additions to the story will be made in the future. In particular, our two-player mode is still under development, so some levels may be missing two-player tutorials, or may not be properly tuned for two-player yet. Having said that, have fun. Rhythm Doctor, press any button. Okay. Let's see. I need to turn up the volume a little bit. So, oh. I kind of want to... There we go. Oh, shit. Oh, I need to resize. One moment. Does that sound okay? Yeah, this sounds alright. Perfect. Alrighty. Now, we're choosing this one simply because of the fact that as you can see here, I already have shit saved here, and I want to erase this one, so... Alrighty. Alrighty. Okay, you're all set up. You know, you're our first remote intern. We could really use we could really use the help. Was that our slot in the first one? Not really ours, but yes, it was when I was trying to S rank. I actually started up a game because the calibration took so long. It's a ranked match, so I can't quit out right now. I'm almost done. Your first patient's over there. Dr. Page can help you out. Oh, right, I forgot they have British accents. Ian, this was your job. Sorry. Alright, you behind your computer. Hi! Our shift is really busy right now, so let's get right to it. We treat patients suffering from different chest pains and heart conditions. What's the oh no for? You treat patients by pressing a spacebar on the 7th beat. Got it? Listen to the music and press only on the 7th beat.
I'm trying to hydrate, not get horny.
How many shrimps do you have to eat before you make your skin turn pink? Eat too much and you'll get sick. Shrimps are pretty rich.
Great, you've got the hang of it. Congratulations. I'm so sorry. What did you do? Looks like we're ready to move on. Thank you. Thank you for the bonk, by the way, Nat. I am petting you back, but I do not have a pet emote right now. Oh, hydrate and unshrimp? Alrighty. I've taken a sip of my tea like a true Brit. Thank you for the redeem, Nat. It's okay, Ren. It's already pretty loud itself, like the game itself is. And I could always make it louder, so, or like through my headphones. So, don't you dare fret. A nice little dance while stretching? Exactly. Actually, that would be a good idea. I don't know how to... Oh, right, you just gotta... Okay. So... Oh, wait, no, that'll still make it audible for me. Crap. Okay, how do I turn off the volume? Let me see. To the old voice you did for Paige? What the fuck was the old voice I did for Paige? Sounds good? Okay. I don't know how to mute them for now to where I won't hear them. So I may just have to... You shut the fuck up. So I may just have to work with what I have. I can always pause by pressing escape, so... Alrighty. Looks like we're ready to move on. Oh, wait. I'm on the wrong thing. Oops. Shut up. I lost my match, though. We've got a lot of patients to treat, so let's get started. Yes! Now, I will say, really quickly, I learned that counting in French, something I know how to do, actually helps you. Now, the reason I learned this was I was playing around and trying to S-rank some things, and I was like, oh hey, wait, why does counting in French actually work better than counting in English? Yeah, I'm just, rah. Okay, one sec. Oh wait, shit, I just opened Chrome. Alright, it's time for me to dip. Alright, yeah. Nine night ran 9999. You did a deep voice for her. I will not forget. Fuck off. Alrighty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Fuck. Keep in mind I won't be, like, talking as much when playing because, as you can see, I kind of messed up, right when yeah. Yes! Can you get a good night, moi? Of course you can.
A+.
That's still pretty good. Cool. Mwah! There's your good night kiss. Night, Ren. Okay. 2 mistakes, 36 early, 40 late, and 76 offset frames. Samurai says, you are maestro. I love you too, Ren. You really did it. Well, it really works. You'll be a huge help in getting to all these people. It's been crazy around here. Good job. Not a bad sense of rhythm either. That'll be perfect. Let's move on. We've got a new patient in here today, an adolescent. You can help him in the same way. Be sure to check your pager for some basic patient info I jotted down when they were admitted. Alright, let's go. Alright, the pager info actually is, what did I miss? I went to go walk my doggo. I played through the introduction of Rhythm Doctor, basically. You can go back and watch it if you're ever confused on, and I can give you another quick run through on what's going on whenever you need. In the settings, what? Do your latency test? What the fuck is a latency test? It's fine. It's fine. I was basically wanting to see if I could click on something for a second. Okay. By the way, alrighty. Oh! Sorry. So there's a night shift as well that you can play. If you get a B+ or above, I think. Can't exactly remember the specifics. But again, if you weren't around to see the intro, or if you didn't hear what I had said earlier, thank you for the squeaky redeem. This game is about treating heart problems and chest pains with music. You're cute! Shut up! Alrighty. Thank you, Nat. Alrighty. Intimate is the song name. Logan is the patient. Patient experiencing sudden heart strain. Fuck. He seems to have something weighing on his mind. Also, Samurai, strain on the patient's heart has been relieved. He has been advised to dress in less heavy armor when attending nightclubs. You're cuter. Okay, I'm gonna just move myself down a little bit so you can... I never actually read his pager. Holy shit. But yes, he does attend a lot of clubs. I think maybe towards the end I'll try S ranking as many as I can. I've done it before. It's not super hard. Well, it's not super hard if you're used to it like I am. It seems easy. Nonsense. He's increasing poise stat, heavier armor. Well put, Ace. Well put. But yes, they just have, I'll probably customize my sleeve and arm before next stream. Oh yeah, you can talk to the janitor in this game. Did you see that samurai looking dude? What's his deal? Is he like going to convention or something? But yes, Samurai enjoys nightclubs and dancing and stuff like that. I never read his pager before. I didn't know he was this silly. Anyways, he seems pleased because I did pretty good. Alrighty, this one I am so experienced with. Okay. Logan says, did I say the wrong thing to her? My chest feels tight. Alrighty. Hey, before we move on, some tips about a new type of heartbeat. This time, you'll get a new kind of patient. Sometimes people come to us with this problem. The heart skips beat, so let's catch it while the stone within reach. When a red X shows up on the line, that beat will be silent. Just count the numbers in your head. Or audibly like I do. I count them in French. Because it's easier in the same amount of beats. Because 7 is 2 syllables. And yeah, it keeps you in... 7 is 2 syllables in English. Except the French version of... the French language for 7... God, I'm terrible at explaining. French 7 is sept, which is one syllable. I think only like 1 through 10. I think all of them are. Yeah, all of them are. All of them are 1 syllable. Wow. Just count the numbers in your head and hit on the 7th beat. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Nice! Good job. Your next patient isn't even actually sick. I think he's just suffering from excessive schmaltziness. If you don't know what that word means, it just means he's being excessively emotional. Hopefully you can snap him out of it. Well, good luck! Alrighty. Y'all ready for this? This is cute as hell, by the way. Doctor! You've gotta help me. My heart's not feeling too good. I don't know what to do. 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Shut up, Wolfrunner! I fucking knew you would say that! I think that was a meme for a couple of... That might have been a meme, I don't know. But if it's not, somebody needs to make that a meme. Oh, by the way, I completely forgot about this. Rhythm Doctor actually has a server. Like, straight up, it has a server, but it's for both Rhythm Doctor and their sister game, A Dance of Fire and Ice, or 805, which I will probably also be playing a different. Oh wait, really? You're familiar with the game? I'm meeting a meme in this community with Logan saying it, because I don't know how familiar everybody is with the game, but I'm pretty familiar with it. I've been in the fandom for a hot minute. Gotta hate LD. Aw. Hold on. Yeah, I've already advertised myself there. I don't know. I kind of felt like I feel like the community around this game has made the "Doctor, you gotta help me" into the "Mr. Starker, I don't feel so good" meme. Alright, ready? It's 12:57. By the way, I'm trying to pause so you guys can hear, like, I'm trying to keep quiet so you guys can hear the music because it is very good. And I know that, like, you have to hear it. It's so good. This one in particular. I'm sorry. What? Another patient is insisting on being treated in here as well. I'll handle the new one. You focus on the boy. What? Whoa. She's here too. Did I just...
Yes.
Yeah!
Good job.
Sorry about that. Oh man. I did it! I've played this level so many times. I've fucking memorized it. Holy shit. Okay, quick note. Haley and Logan are two teenagers that go to the same high school, I think. And they're kinda, like, they kinda have feelings for each other, but are fucking wishy-washy as hell about it. But in the Rhythm Doctor fandom, no ship is technically canon. They made that very purposeful. So you can ship whatever the hell you want. By the way, when I first played this game, the tension between me and Paige, like, the tension between the player and Paige when you're playing the game, or when you're playing that level, is palpable. Like, it's not a bad tension either. It just, I don't know, something about it just felt like, you're not, are you? Wait a minute. Great job, Vincent. Whoa, hey, Haley, I had no idea you were here too.
Yeah,
Well, funny story. You said something about having to go to the hospital, and then you never texted back to explain why. So I kind of started freaking out, thinking you got sick. So I got so worried, my chest started to hurt. So my parents had me come here too. I didn't think that it'd be so musical, though. We're experimenting with some new methods. When I heard that you were on this floor too, I wanted to come visit. Oh, cool. Sorry. That last time we talked, I got flustered. I think I said something stupid. What I meant was... No, don't worry about it. At least we have plenty of time to hang out while we're stuck here. You can tell me whatever was really on your mind, okay? Alright, that's probably enough for now. Let's let Logan get his rest. Ready, intern? Let's continue the tour. I'm having chest pains. So, we haven't explained the whole musical doctoring process yet. We kinda pulled you straight into the deep end. Sorry about that. Thankfully, you're a quick learner. Ian, do you think you could explain the program? This was more your thing. Right. The Rhythm Doctor program is a new experimental healthcare initiative. It's a music-based cardiological treatment. By listening to the patient's heartbeat and synchronizing with it, we can calm their irregularities. It's quick and can save a lot of lives. Plus, interns can perform the treatment remotely, so there's shorter waiting times and less work piled on the staff. It's a win-win situation. And that's the idea, at least. As long as all goes well, we can... Oh, this motherfucker! Ian, did you finish setting up that remote connection? Yes, sir. As you can see, our new intern is here and... Very good. But let's not be overconfident. There's still a lot that both of you should be getting to. The shift has only just started. Ensure that every patient is personally seen to. I imagine I'm not interrupting some sort of break. Not at all, we will just submit a report about the program by the end of the day. Don't mind him. Well, don't worry about it. We should show you around so you can meet the rest of the patients. You should be able to shift your video display around the hospital to... That's new! When was that added? What? No fucking... Holy shit! That scene was not there. This is new. Hold on. Something's happening. One of our patients needs help immediately. That can't be good. Oh! You're up, intern. Remember, just stay calm and keep counting to 7. No matter what happens. Battle-worn insomniac. Incomplete. What's happening? The sword-wielding patient has had chronic tiredness for the past 7 years. No medicines have been effective. Rhythmic defibrillation advised. By the way, I think both Ian and Ada are 27? 1 second. I'm double-checking that. I have their little, like, info sheets saved on my phone. Because, again, I was fixated as hell onto this fucking game. I forgot about the memes I had. Let me see. I have them saved... I have them saved somewhere. Where the fuck are they? Da, da, da. Da, da, da. Da, 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 Right. Yes, they are both 27. You're Stop it! Evil! 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 Alrighty. By the way, we have no idea how old the Insomniac is. We just know that Ian and Ada are 27, and the Logan. Oh God, it was written down somewhere. I've gotta find it now. 1 second. I'm very quickly needing to peek. Peeky. Where's the server? Where's the server? There it is. I'm kind of like, I know one of the devs, kinda. Like, we chatted on Discord before. They're pretty nice. She's pretty nice, I'm sorry. Like, everybody there is actually really fucking nice. They're really sweet. I just absolutely adore them. Oh. Yeah, if I remember right, Haley and Logan are 14. Oh! Thank you. Thank you for the redeem. I will not admit it. God, I opened the Chrome again. Chrome and Discord need to not be so close together. I'm trying to remember. Okay, but I don't think... Oh God, I need to find it. You know what? I'm giving up. I do know that that Logan and Haley are meant to be teens. Ada and Ian are both 27. I don't know how old fucking Adega is. His name is Gabe Adega, by the way. I'm pretty sure his full name is Gabriel Adega, but nobody fucking calls him that. What they call him is Gabe Adega, and it's because his name is a music pun. I'll explain it later. First, we have to beat this boss. Let's get this bread. Reminder, I will be as quiet as I possibly can while playing these levels in order to allow you to hear the music. It looks like something is messing with your connection. Could it be? Yep, it was the infection. Classic case of the Wi-Fi signal jamming virus, Connectivia abortus. It's about to come back now, and stronger. The most important. Yes! What's happening? Okay. I'll explain it in a moment. Act 1, perfect! I perfected it! Alrighty. So, what was happening there is... Oh. Okay. Great work. His heartbeat got really erratic, but it looks like he had it under control. Ian, what was all that? Is that supposed to happen? No, that was a strange virus that was disrupting the intense signal. It was even messing with the cardiogram. It should be fixed now, but I'll look into it. Just a small hiccup in the process. Hopefully it doesn't persist. Let's move on for now. Got it. Looks like we're done with this set of patients. Let's move on to the next ward. Right, so Ada has a yo-yo that she sometimes plays with as she walks. That's what the pink thing in her hand is. She plays with the yo-yo. By the way, the fact I perfected it is... that was really difficult for me when I first started playing. I will say, what that was is, it's a little, more simply put, it's a virus that they have specifically the Insomniac get. Only him, thus far. It may have changed later, considering I haven't played Act 5 on yet, since that's been a relatively new addition since last November? I think. Alrighty. This was the song that I actually had playing when I was setting up stream. This is called Lo-Fi Hip-Hop Beats to Treat Patients To. Heart's pounding out of my chest, but I can't stop now. I'm in the zone. Patient is a young musician suffering from supraventricular tachycardia, which is also abbreviated into SVT. They explain a little bit of it in the lead up before this, but I will say very quickly. So I got reminded of something when I thought of supraventricular tachycardia. Now, a little note about me. In my senior year of high school during the fall semester, whereas it happens. I will like to politely ask that you do not point out like viewer count or anything like that. People are often lurking, and reminding me of viewer count and things like that will just make me feel a tiny bit more insecure. I know technically that the best time to stream would be at like in the afternoon, because that's when most people are on, but I don't wanna. I want to stream in the evening. I have less interruptions that way. That being said, I'm ooh. Ooh! Oh, sweet! Holy shit! Annie, holy shit, you are a fucking lifesaver. Oh my god. Okay, so I managed to get the official list of ages from one of the mods in the community, because apparently they are lurking in my stream. So hi Annie, it is a pleasure to have you in my stream. Hello, hello. Okay. So, they haven't decided on an exact birthday, ages and birthdays yet, because it's never been plot crucial, but age ranges are, well, besides Paige and Ian. I feel bad for... No, it's okay. I don't make it usually explicitly clear, so I was just laying it out there, so don't worry about it. the age ranges for Logan for most of the characters include Logan, Haley, and Lucia, a later character that you will see, being 13 to 14. Cole and Nicole. Cole currently being the one right here that we're about to treat, and Nicole being another character who will show up very soon, being around 21 to 23 years old. Paige and Ian, as I have said before, are 27 years old. Adaga is late 30s to early 40s, which honestly that would track. Richard Hugh, another character who you will see later, is 50. Wow, he's 50? God damn. Minor is 30. And then the Stevensons are 70. The Samurai and Insomniac, however, do not have their ages listed. They are unknown. So I was correct about that. Thank you again, Annie, for sending me that. I greatly appreciate that. Oh, man. Oh, fuck. I so missed this game. Alrighty. Okay. Administer the 2-beat SVT rhythm treatment. Alrighty. And that will be explained right here. Oh my god, I have got to shout you out really quickly. So this is Annie, or Symphony. It really depends on it really depends on if you go out off of her name that she likes to be called or her username. But she is, I think she's one of the mods in this server, if I'm correct on that. Let me see. I think you are. Yeah, you're a mod. Oh shit. I think, yeah. You're one of the, or you're an admin, I'm sorry. You're an admin in the server, and just generally, she is a wonderful person and is super helpful. So, highly recommend. I'll make sure to drop the Rhythm Doctor Lounge link later. And yeah. Just in case you want to join and, you know, see the fandom and all that, because they're genuinely super cool. And they've gotten really large over the years. Okay. Let's get started. Ready for something new? Now we're in the supraventricular tachycardia ward. I did not know this was a thing you could do. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I felt the intense urge to just shout you out because you're amazing, okay? Patients here have 2 beats instead of 7. The nurse will cue you in with the phrase ready, get, set, go. She's picked up English now. Remember her rhythm. Here, Ian will demonstrate first. Ready, get, set. These beeps are just for demonstration purposes. Get, set. Now without the guide beeps. I will say something really quickly for anybody who wants to play this game. It's only about $7 on Steam if I remember correctly. It is actually, like, a trick for doing tachycardia is take the get set that that the nurse says and just repeat it in your head. Or just go get set, get set, get set over and over again. That'll usually help you keep the beat.
And stop.
Now it's your turn.
Ready, get, set,
Get,
go.
get, set.
And stop.
Wow, it's like you knew all of this already. Perfect! But I'm still gonna read out the full explanation anyways. As you certainly already know, for SVT beats, it doesn't matter when the beat pulses. Don't be tricked, just always follow the nurse's get and set timing. That's why. Even if the beat pulses multiple times, or pulses on an offbeat, just stick to the get and set timing. These funky SVT beats will normally happen without warning, but for this lesson we will deploy a spider to induce them. The spider doesn't bother me, but in order to be courteous, I will do something really quickly, and I will show you something that I personally found super sweet. You see how Farmer is scared here? Well, oh, don't worry. This is a completely controlled environment, and it's a medically trained professional spider. Before we do this, do spiders bother you? And this is what I find super sweet. If you do not want to see a spider on the screen, press the button twice. Are you okay with seeing a spider? There you go. This is simply to accommodate everybody else in the audience. Okay, we will not meet the spider. Let's see.
Ready, get, set, go.
Oh, that was perfect. Did you see how they had the hand covering the fucking spider there? I personally found that really cute and really, it was adorable and very accommodating to those who do have icks with spiders. And I personally just found it really sweet that they did that. Do you play a lot of rhythm games? Breaking the fourth wall, are we? Very clever. Yeah, very clever. Your first SVT patient will need to be treated just like that. Keep that beat in your head, and good luck.
Ready, get, set, go.
Hey, don't mind me. I'll be treating another patient. Just stay focused on your own. Got it? There's Samurai!
Set, go.
This is making me fall asleep. It's okay. S plus ranked. You would not be hearing me. It would not be as calming if I did not have the if I did not have the easy button currently. So I will say really quickly, and I will show you. 24/7 chill or 25/7 chill beats. That's really. Supraventricular tachycardia unplayed. Patient has recovered but seems to be indulging in excessive coffee drinking. Let's monitor his heart rate for future attacks. Now I can get back to work. Okay. Wolf! God damn it! Oh. Here's the janitor again. That hoodie guy keeps trying to get me to listen to his electronic music. I'm trying to clean toilets and he's hitting me up with all these 24/7 chill vibe things. I don't even know what the heck that means. I don't get paid enough for this. I gotta check on Insomniac really quickly. Patience is full of energy now. Doctors are advised to keep their distance until he stops swinging his sword from excitement. No! You know what this reminds me of? Perfect time for Az to hit because this allows me to look it up. Okay, this reminded me of a Tumblr post. I know ads. I know. Hold on, I have got to find this.
Trying to hydrate, not get horny.
Thank you for the hydrate, Nat. Thank you, thank you. I have hydrated. There it is! I think. Maybe. Nope, this isn't it. No! Hold on, I have got to find this. Okay, I can't find it. I have got to find it. Those are such cute emojis! Okay. I don't think that... I don't think it's here, but I can basically quote it. I know it most... I know it for the most part. Okay. One moment. Alright, I'm gonna wait until everybody is back before I start quoting it. Welcome back, everyone! Unfortunately, I cannot find the meme right now. If I manage to find it, I'll probably post it on my Twitter. But essentially what it was if I were a knight, I would be terrible because I would just end up being given my sword and just swing it around and kill a bunch of people. Neurodivergent knight stims on battlefield, 10 dead, 12 injured, or something like that. That's alright, Wolf. Don't worry about it. I was trying to find a meme that I just quoted, so it's entirely alright. Alrighty. Perfect. Much better. Yeah, we love him. We stan. Anyways, I will say that most of the characters' names are puns. At least the ones that have official first and last names. For example, Cold Brew. He has excessive coffee drinking habits. I really wish for you to be the best. Wolf, oh my god, can you not be so sweet right now? Holy shit. I'm just saying, that just made my heart fucking scream. Thank you for that. Oh my god. I want to cry now, goddamn. Oh man. Oh god. Okay, I'm fine. I am completely and entirely fine. What was I wanting to grab? Oh my god. Right, I was wanting to see if somebody was live really quickly. Okay, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. I fixed it. We good, we Gucci. Oh shit, that's right, Jev is live. Cool. Maybe I could stop popping in and say hi if we finish. Can't promise you that, I would. Oh, please, you're gonna make me start crying. I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. Okay. I have yet to S rank this this level because it gets pretty damn hard. Please don't get If you continue being sweet, I'm gonna end up crying my eyes out. Stop it. Oh my god, you're so sweet. Thank you, Wolf Rider. Thank you, thank you. Okay. Time to focus. I know we'll get the inspiration flowing. Patient risks increased supraventricular tachycardia attacks due to high caffeine diet. Continue to observe closely. And I need to clean off my glasses because I ended up smudging them when I was trying not to cry. Sorry about that, I did not mean to burp. Like right into... I don't know if the mic picked it up, but I'm still gonna apologize. Alrighty. Yes, I do wear glasses in real life, and I do have to clean them quite regularly because my dumbass just ends up smudging the fuck out of them. There we go. Much better. I'm just saying really quickly that I need my glasses so much that I literally cannot read chat or anything that is being said on my second monitor, which is just my computer. I can read some of, or like most of the text on the main monitor, which is my drawing tablet. But it's pretty big, so I use it as my main monitor. Alrighty. Let's go. Oh my god, Runner, you're dead. Oh my god. You're very sweet, thank you. I hope to grow to be a big content creator, so you can watch my content all day, every day. Okay. Thank you for your kind words, though, seriously. I had a huge smile on my face. But it's time to get back into performance mode. Hi again. There's something else you need to know about SVT heartbeats. First, let's recap how SVT beats work. The nurse has a lot of work around here.
Go.
Nice, got it in one go. Fuck! Maybe if you didn't fucking talk, Paige, I wouldn't have been distracted. Okay! Now you should learn how to deal with attacks. When SVT patients have attacks, the heart rate doubles. And when the heart settles, it halves. The nurse will see changes coming, and she will warn you with a faster cue or slower cue. Just follow the rhythm established by her get and set calls. Here we go!
Ready, get, set, go. Ready, get, set, go. And stop.
Excellent! One more set for the patient's sake. Get ready, you can handle this.
Ready, get, set, go. Get, set, go. Get, set, go. Get, set, go. Get, set, go.
Fuck.
Get, set, go. Get, set, go. And stop.
Smooth. You've got it down. That patient, Cole, keeps drinking coffee lately. Now he's experiencing caffeine-induced attacks. You just need to keep him stabilized. Good luck. Oh, quick note as well. This game was made by the head dev and creator is Indonesian, I think. God, fuck. God damn you. I don't remember. Oh god, I'm trying to remember where Fizz is actually from. Point is, he's somewhere within, I think.
Hey.
Oh, hello? Thank you for the follow, Azuvic. Thank you. One moment. Ah, there he is. Ooh. So he's... Oh my god, he's made a lot of games. I'm trying to... There he is! I just know he's Malaysian. Thank you. I was trying to remember. I thought it was like either Malaysia or one other place, and I was struggling to remember. Thank you. But yes, he's Malaysian, and he has been working on all this stuff, and I know little bits of trivia due to having been in this fandom for about, God, how many years has it been now? Like 3? Fuck. Alrighty, ready?
Get, set, go. Get, set, go.
Alright, I'm back. Are you drinking coffee again? It's the caffeine that's triggering your episodes. But
Get set, go.
I can't talk and play at the same time. Neurodivergent overstim.
Ready, get set, go. Get set, go. Get set, go.
Porcelain made that was the worst time for a fucking notification to pop up. It's funny that Paige broke the fourth wall. How? Is it with the rhythm games comment? Because believe it or not, I actually don't play a lot of rhythm games. I have a terrible sense of rhythm. Unless I have something to follow, I cannot make something work. Which is unfortunate because I would really love to make my own. Yeah. But like, I would love to make my own like music and shit like that. But I can't because of that lack of rhythm. The only way I've learned how to play this game is from having played having played several of them on repeat. So, yes, it is pretty cool.
A+.
Yes! Wow, how calm. I read that in such a sarcastic way. The fact it's entirely lowercase too. Alright, good. Save it again. Listen, I promise everything will be okay. If you really drink this much coffee per day for the sake of your music, maybe there's something deeper going on. Try thinking of other things that could inspire you. If you can find something, it should weaken the dependency. Doesn't sound easy, but fine, I'll try. Good work with the defibrillation. This rhythm method helps with symptoms, but I wonder if it could really treat addiction. We usually need to tackle the issue at its root. It's complicated. Speaking of addiction, there's another patient we should check in on. She's actually on shift, so let's go visit. Nicole! I just need to survive the rush hour. This job is such a drag. This is Nicole Ting. The barista at the hospital cafe is experiencing SVT-type symptoms, maybe tied to frustration. Administered treatment during rush hour. I am getting fucking flashbacks from trying to S-rank this fucking stage. Oh my god. Oh god. Oh my god. I want you to guess what her addiction is. Reminder that the names are all puns if they have a first and last name. And currently we only have... out of the ones that I know, we only have Ada. That's one. Ada, Adega. Well, I realized that they don't say her full name outright. Until at least next ward. Ada Page. Ada Page. But her name is pronounced Ada, so. Nicole Ting. Nicotine. So. Cole Brew. That one's more obvious. Trying to remember. Logan doesn't have a last name. Haley doesn't have a last name. Lucia doesn't have a last name. Right, Gabriel Adega. So, okay. How familiar are you guys with, like, letters assigned to notes for, like, music making stuff? I'm only familiar with it because I was taught how to sight read in middle school. This could... Logan Stone, Haley Log in a stone. That's right. Log in a stone. Haley's Moody, and Lucia Moon. I don't know the name behind Lucia, or the pun behind Lucia's name. Though I do, I like her. I like her a lot. Lucia Moon is... Oh! That tracks. That tracks. That makes sense. Thank you, Annie. Thank you. Yeah, there you go. Lucia Moon is Mona Lisa, I think, is what Annie said. Alrighty. Yeah, so she smokes in order to relieve her stress, but that's what's causing her SVT-like symptoms. Alrighty, let's get ready. I'm gonna try not to have a fucking breakdown over this goddamn level. Our next patient is exhibiting a new type of SVT beat. Interestingly enough, SVT beats can swing. Listen to the nurse's cues to get a feel for how the swung rhythm is different than the classic one. Alright, you're up. Lights, camera, action. Why does it feel jazzy in here?
Ready, get, set, go. Stop.
Alright, awesome. You're getting the hang of it. Time for phase 2. Phase 2 will have you alternate between normal and a swung SVT rhythms on the fly. Get ready. Good luck, Sheriff.
Get, set, go. Ready, get, set, go. Get, set, go. Ready, get, set, go. Get, set, go. D, get, set, go. Get, set, go. D, get, set, go. Stop.
You've got it down. Our next patient is Nicole. She works as a barista in the hospital's cafe. Her heart is exhibiting this swung variation of SVT rhythms. Good luck. Alrighty. We ready for this? Da 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 da. Sorry.
Get, set, go. Ready, get, set, go. Ready, get, set, go. 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 Ready, get, set, go. Ready, get, set, go. 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 Get, set, go. And stop.
Holy shit.
Get, set, go. And stop.
Thank you for the redeem, Nat. Thank you. I only made half a mistake. Holy fuck. Yeah, make one mistake and you get booted down to an A+ rank. That's actually okay. The reason I was so silent and why I even messed that up was because, like, again, I spent an entire day, like, I think about, fuck, like 6 hours total trying to S rank this like S plus rank this goddamn level. Fuck, I hated doing it. But I did it, and I will be happy to show you later. Thanks for the save back there. I noticed that. I know, smoking. I promised I would stop. Is that even legal to do in here? No, it's not. I ended up learning this at some point or another. It is not, in fact, legal to smoke within about, I think, 30 feet of a hospital or some shit. It's the only thing that gets me through these absolute hell shifts. It calms me down. Are you interested in quitting? I can help you if you want. I've tried before, but if you have any tips, that'd be great. I understand completely. I can help. We can work on it together. Oh, by the way, this is our intern, the one behind the screen. This game is perfect for VTubers because then they can, like, deadass just be like, hi, it's me, and, like, act like they're on those little robots that you see at conventions. You know the ones, right? They'll be able to help you with any chest pains or irregularities you feel. Thanks, that's good to know. You two might be the only cool people around here. That Ian guy always has his nose in his laptop. Those high schoolers just whisper and giggle to each other. And that other doctor dude scares me. Hi, Mazuko! Hello! Hello, Mazuko! Yes, the interns and the interns and the viewers are indeed the only cool people in this hospital. Hello, hello, hello. It's going good. I S plus ranked 3 out of the current 5 levels that I have played. Maybe, hold on, wait. It might have been 4 out of 6. Let me count in a moment. This game is a one-button rhythm game, and you have to hit every beat, besides these SVT beats, on every 7th beat. For the SVT beats, it is only 2 beats. Yeah, it's actually pretty sick. Well, at least that guy in the red hoodie is pretty chill. He actually talks to me. Something to look forward to every day.
I'm trying to hydrate, not get horny.
I just hydrated, but I'll hydrate again. I've been drinking those. I cold brewed some of my recently acquired fruity herbal teas. They're actually pretty damn good. Specifically, my favorites so far have been the black cherry and blueberry ones. Those are very tasty. Something to look forward to every day. Sorry, I'm rambling. Thanks for the save, Doc. Gonna share? I would happily share, but I don't exactly think I can just pour my tea on my computer. I'll find a way to send it up from hell, I promise. Something tells me Nicole has, like, ADHD or had ADHD or something as a kid, and that's why she's like, sorry, I'm rambling. I don't know. Maybe it's just me projecting. I think it's me projecting. Also, I want you to look at her movements really quickly. Do you see that she blows her hair out of her face? That's something I noticed very, like, I noticed that kind of, I guess you could say early on. But I noticed it and I was like, oh my god, that's so cool. Yes! There are so many nice details in the little sprites. They're so cool. Come back if you ever need a coffee or just want to hang. She's super... Ah! I love her. God. Right, so let me see. A+, because I messed up once, I think. S+, perfect. That's 2 perfects out of 3 so far. 4 out of 3, because S+ there. A plus there, so 4, 5, 6. So yeah, I've done 3 out of 6 so far. That is an S plus. This will give me a 4 out of 7. I'm gonna talk to the janitor really quickly. There it is. We've got a cafe in the building. You checked it out yet? Rush hour must be a real pain. That girl running the joint always has a sour look on her face. I only ever see her lighten up when that hoodie dude comes around. By the way, it's not canon because no ships are technically canon, but it is heavily implied, and you'll see this firsthand later on, that Cole and Nicole are, Cole and Nicole have feelings for each other, but, you know. Again, not canon because none of the ships are canon. They make it very intentional. Alright. When that hoodie dude comes around. Alrighty. Time for the intermission. Song of the Sea. Now this one's pretty unique, and I'll explain as I tap. The cafe is available for all staff during the workday. Feel free to relax and spend time with our in-house barista. Want a drink? Come and sit for a while. This level does not actually have anybody you need to treat or anything. So this allows me to properly show you the difference between the buttons. Welcome, take a seat. You're probably already sitting. The rush hour is over, so things should be a little more low-key. Make yourself comfortable. There's a dusty keyboard over there. Maybe you can toy around with it. And right here. So, do you see how the... Oh. Do you see how the player 1 difficulty is easy? I'm setting it to normal just to show you the difference in the buttons. Even the sound is different. Oh, look who it is. I'd be narrating, but I'm playing. Yeah. Gonna pause really quickly to show you the hard version now. Now, if you'll notice, the same button that is the hard mode button is the same button that Ian uses. And then I'm gonna quickly adjust it back. There's an unmissable button! No fucking way! There's a very easy button, which is just, that. But I'm setting it to easy because that's what I like.
S plus. Good job.
You're now the cafe's in-house musician. Now, I'll probably make a dub of that later. Maybe, like, bring on somebody for, reading off Cole's lines, because I know I can't exactly, do a masculine voice super well. I mean, I can a little bit, but just not super well. So I'm probably gonna hit up one of my voice actor friends and see if they could provide some lines. But that kind of establishes that they already have a kind of friendship, so... So that's 2 of our main SVT patients having episodes in 1 day. Oh, I forgot his fucking British accent, god damn it! And both relapse into the very habits causing it. So much for self-control. To be fair, you can't just kick a habit overnight. We should check in on them one more time before our shift is over. Ian, you go find Cole. The intern and I will check in on the barista. Alright. Hey guys, what's up? Just checking in. How are you feeling? Okay for now. My shift's almost over. I haven't taken any more smoke breaks, but it's tough. Hard to stay numb during work. Coffee people are so impatient. Have you been able to take your mind off of it? Does anything help? Actually, that red hoodie guy sent me a song he made, and now it's the song stuck in my head. So in a way, I guess that earworm sort of helps time go by. Honestly, if every customer could be more like that dude, each day would be a lot easier. What's wrong? My chest... not feeling great. It'll be okay. The incident will help. Are you ready? Stay focused on the beat, no matter what. Oh! Sorry, I'm sorry for just screaming there for a moment. So, you see this? This is what implies that they have feelings for one another, by the way. I have got to make a cover of this song. Like, straight up. I have to make a cover of this song with somebody else, I think. Oh shit, hell yeah. The musician and barista are experiencing a heightened SVT episode. Keep steady with your 2-beat treatment, no matter what. My mind is spinning. Would it be crazy to walk up and say something? Let's go, boss level! That's right! Oh god. Oh fuck. Okay, I completely forgot something. I'm going to turn off the game visuals and turn on my screen visuals because it shifts around the screen and I need you all to see this. Because it goes hard. And it's gonna... Ooh. It actually dips around even into my other screen, the one that I currently have OBS up on. But who cares about that, right? No, it's fine. I'll find a way to... There should be a way, like a... Oh, God. Hold on. There's a visual setting I can put... Now I'm shaken, stirred, awakened, speaking, to realize the truth. You have been through all the things I've been through. You can be my muse, write these songs for you. Now I'm shaken, turned, awakened, taking this pain to realize the truth. That's advanced settings. Oh god. All displays, one display, an ins. Oh, okay. I found out how to do it. Okay, cool. Damn it. Which means I have to restart it. Okay, 1 second. Oh my fucking god, that is tiny. What are you... Are you for fucking real right now? 1 second. There we go. Alright, let's try this. Please don't shrink. Yes! Oh! Holy shit. Okay. I'm pulling up the game instead. Placing her right here. Perfect. Boss stage.
Get set, go.
I just can't refrain. Bitterness so quaint. One more shot, never again. All the excuses, always the same.
Fuck!
it all comes kicking in again.
I'm shaken, stirred, awakened. It's taken this pain to realize the truth. You have been through all the things I've been through. You can be my muse. I'll write these
Ready,
songs for
get,
you.
set, go.
Now I'm shaken, stirred, awakened. It's taken this pain to realize the truth. So take the craving, take away the
Ready,
craving,
get, set, go.
take away the cravings from me.
Get, set, go.
Stay away from you. I'll make my way to you. No more tries, no more nights will keep me away from you. I finally found the key to set me free.
Yes! Oh my god. Wolf, this fucking... Oh, okay. So, holy shit! It matches the actual time on my computer! Hold on. It is, in fact, 9:20 p.m. That's fucking wild! They put so much detail into this! Oh my god!
Fucking beautiful.
Thank you for the redeem, Nat. Thank you. Holy shit! Oh my god. I did not notice all of these little details on some of my playthroughs. Especially since I normally have it on the full screen, like both display moving across bits. I will gladly show y'all that towards the end, because maybe I could perfect this one. It's always at one point that I fuck it up. I have only once ever, and that is this one time. I have only once ever managed to get that fast portion. Oh my god. That was crazy. I thought my heart was gonna jump out of my chest. Same. I'm being doted on by my audience. How dare you all? Ah! I'm fine. Same. You were able to treat them both at once. Perfect. Oh, that doc is here. I guess I should probably go back to my room. But maybe I could hang out here for just a little longer while Nicole closes up. I could whip up something decaf for him. Promise. Fair enough. You're not in any trouble or anything. Why do I sound like a school teacher? You know, Doc, I don't think you guys should worry about me. That thing you said about finding inspiration to keep making music? This shit's so sweet. I think I can do it without the caffeine. I just imagine him looking directly at Nicole, which, by the way, Cole is a lot shorter than Nicole. That's great news. Habits are tough to change, but having someone to cheer you on, it always helps. I'm here. Finally, Cole. There you are. Oh, yeah, I kind of gave him the slip, huh? You alright, Ian? Yeah, I was running as fast as I could to tell you that that virus, Connectivia abortus, was detected again. They didn't capitalize it right! Okay, when writing... Ian, you're late. Yeah. So when writing... I had this drilled into me when I was in high school biology class. When you're writing out the Latin name for something, you know, like it's obviously shown here, you have to have the second word's first letter lowercase. So it would not be Connectivia abortus with the first letters capitalized, but instead... And the reason for this is because the first is the genus and the second is the species. Alright. I was rushing to find you, but it looks like you already handled it. Good job, I guess? Very punctual. That's such a she's such a sarcastic little shit. I love her. Just very punctual. I'm fine. Anyway, these two seem to be feeling much better. We'll check in on them tomorrow. Whenever you're ready, let's head back to the main ward. Oh, just when I thought things couldn't get any weirder around here, that hoodie dude and the coffee girl are singing at each other across the hall. And you know what? I can dig it. I've always been a sucker for a cute duet. Keeps things lively around here. God damn it! I love him. He's great. I love him. He's great. We've checked on Logan, Haley, Cole, Nicole, and the two guys with the swords. That's all they... Okay. So... They call them the two guys with the swords because they don't know their names. They're just listed as Samurai and Insomniac. Or Ronin. I know that another name for him is Ronin, but nobody knows their names outside of those. There's a few more patients for you to meet, and then we can see if the Rhythm Doctor treatments are enough to get them home. Thankfully, this new method is helping speed things along. Dr. Ortega's coming. Please, don't let me interrupt your important meeting. Go on. Thank you for the squeaky. We were done. We were just moving on. We haven't checked on Mr. Stevenson yet. It seems to take you a while to walk down that hallway these days. Regardless, I'm only making my way over here to update you on our staffing. As you're both aware, we've had several staff members quit in the past few months. A shame how some people buckle under the lightest of pressure, abandoning us. Something tells me Adega is gonna be an antagonist, and I wholly believe this. And I have for the entire time I've known this game. But just, I don't know, the way he's going about it definitely tells me he's gonna be a bit of an antagonist. Oh, wait. Adega is a he. Because his name, yeah. He's faceless for a reason, too, but I don't exactly know why he's... Right, I didn't explain the name, his pun. The name pun. So... Runner, are you familiar with, letter notes? Like, letter names assigned to notes? You know, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. For treble clef, yeah. So, if you'll notice, he does not have a single letter that is not attached to those note names. So Gavedega. And he was originally going to have a theme, from what I've heard of. Now, this was a couple of years back. He was originally going to have a theme that would play that was literally just Gabeedega over and over again. And, oh god, I gotta go try and play that really quickly. One moment, please. I am back. I have played it on the piano, at least as far as I am aware. And it would just be this over and over again, so let me... One second. No, it wouldn't be this key exactly, I'm certain, but still. That's what I managed to play. That's at least the basic idea of what it would be. So yeah, little trivia fact I know. That feeble doctor and several nurses, remember? We had planned to have those positions filled in with new staff by now. Plans have changed. To save budget and time, we're leaving those positions vacant. Permanently. Interesting indeed. Hold on, I'm gonna turn this way down. There we go. Perfect. Alrighty. What? A hospital of this size can be run by... We'll be pivoting to this Rhythm Doctor program to make up for the reduced staff. You've proven how effective this new method is. A skeleton crew should be sufficient to carry it out. Dr. Page, you'll be in charge of giving every patient their individualized attention and checkups. Ian, you'll be charged of facilitating the intern and any new ones you can find in these rhythm-based operations. And, as you promised, making sure there are no more bugs in the program. Understood? Our hospital always needs to keep up with the changing times. I trust that you'll all keep up too. Sorry, Ada. Wait, I fucked that up again. Sorry, Ada. It's fine. I can handle it. Well, my shift is over. I'm going to head home. I've still got... Pausing. Gives me perfect time to go use the restroom, actually, so... One moment. Okay, hello. I am back. Though I may have an interruption again here soon, I'm not sure. I've still got some work to do. I'll be watching over my mother while I'm home, but hopefully I can make time to fix bugs. Good luck, both of you. I'll get back as soon as I can, I promise. Thanks, Ian. I appreciate it. Try to enjoy the break. Well, that just leaves us. Let's see. I need to check back in with Logan and Haley. I need to keep tabs on Colin Nicole's addiction rehab. I need to check on Mr. Stevenson. Oh no. Did someone bring a pet in here or something? Sorry, I don't have time for this. Can you follow that trail of feathers and figure out where it's coming from? I have some other things I need to handle, especially with Dr. Adaga always keeping his eye on me. You're a lifesaver. I'll circle back with you afterward. Some sort of bird has been spotted in the halls. Some other patients have been following it, so keep an eye on them. The bird seems stressed. It's molting feathers. You found it! Thank goodness. Is that a cockatiel in the hospital? I feel like I should be surprised. Instead, I just feel nothing. Moving on. Oh, the bird's pulse is showing up on the ECG. Okay, sure. I swear, Ian always misses out on the weird stuff. It's coming in pretty faint. The monitor's not picking up the sound of every beat. You'll need to keep count in your head. Oh shit. I just thought of something. If you're having trouble counting to 7 with all those skipped beats, maybe try counting 1, 2, 3, 4 instead. 2, 3. Poor little thing. Nobody here has vet training. I guess we'll try our best. It's Hugh. How long have you been sitting there? You know, without Ian here, you might need to start treating multiple patients at once. We're pretty understaffed. I wish I could help you with the rhythm treatments, but... By the way, this was made around the time that COVID was a thing, so... Well, probably better off if I stick to my usual responsibilities. As you've probably seen, when you're treating multiple patients at once, the heartbeats might be off sync from each other. Listen closely for when each patient's beat starts. Let's try treating Hugh and Cocktail together. I know it will be tricky, but I believe in you. Amazing! You didn't miss a single beat! I wonder how many patients you can handle at once. You assured me a few minutes ago you'd check on Mr. Stevenson, and yet it is interesting. When I passed this room just now, I could hear him asking, You're right! You're right! Sorry, I've gotta go, intern. You help out the bird. See you later. Let's go. Oh, hey Haley, come quick! I found it! What are you doing here, little fella? Yes! This game seems easy enough.
S plus.
It is a rhythm game.
Good job.
And while it is easy for me, but it's simply because I'm on easy mode and I'm too afraid to go onto normal mode. Alright, I'm back. I noticed something strange. Logan's heart is showing strain and irregularity again. It's like we're back to square one. And I thought he would be ready for the discharge by now. Did something happen between Logan and Haley while I was gone? Anything you noticed that explains why his heart is pounding? Right, you can't say anything. Can't talk through the screen. Never mind. I need you to check back in on Logan again to stabilize his heartbeat. That samurai guy too, he needs a checkup. While you do that, I was going to help treat our elderly patient, Mr. Stevenson, but now it looks like a new patient who was just admitted. Let's see how we can help him. Oh, this asshole! Cool! I hate this motherfucker. What's taking so long? If you dare call him my fucking, like, uncle or some shit due to his tail, I will dropkick you. I exist not. Hi, Mantine. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. What is this game exactly? This is Rhythm Doctor. It is a one-button rhythm game where you're supposed to hit on the 7th beat for normal beats, or every second beat for SVT beats. It'll be showcased here in a moment. These can get pretty difficult, but you get some training here and there. I currently have it on easy mode, by the way, which makes the button larger and you're less likely to miss. I would prefer it to keep it on easy because then I can hear the shit without having to worry about, like, any number of different things. Sorry, this patient just barged into the hospital without filling out any forms. He seems to be in a rush. Let's see what he needs. Richard Hugh, by the way, his name is Richard Dan Hugh. Richer than you. So we've got a senior citizen requiring care. But now apparently there's a politician in here who demands to be treated first. He is also called politician. Hey, Ian, this is like straight out of our textbooks. What framework do we use to decide who to treat first? Under a fair and egalitarian RHS, what do we do? Ian, we studied this barely a year ago. a whole medical ethics course, remember? We did? Oh, yeah. That ethics course. I didn't know that was applied to real life. It is, unfortunately. By the way, the reason that the difference, the different like ethics things would actually dictate that the politician be treated first if he did not smoke, drink, or any number of things that could worsen his health, due to the fact that he is simply younger. The younger and less, like, the younger and more healthy a person is, the more likely they are to be, I think when it comes to this, at least, the more likely they are to be treated first, but... Oh, hello, Zach! Hello! Have fun hanging out with your friend. It is lovely to see you in my stream chat. Hello. Oh, you want pink hair. I'm sorry. I was not paying attention. Thank you. Please have fun with your friend. Alrighty. Okay. I remember now. QALY, right? Quality Adjusted Life Years. Yep, exactly. And how does it work? It's like a formula to calculate the value of people's lives. Yep. And the one who has the higher number wins, right? So, between these two patients, does QALY conclude political power as a factor? No, Ian, it does not. I need a doctor. I'm not a doctor, but I think I might be able to help. It's not a simple system, no. Of course, Zach, of course. My diagnosis is that no one has been treating you well, so what's the cure? Sorry, I immediately had a Jack Stalwer song come into my head with the, I need a doctor, oh! Alright. Well, if we don't treat him, he'll slash our funding next year. Case closed. The politician wins. Sorry, Gramps. Oh my god. What's taking so long? A tutorial. No tutorial. You treat me. Now! Shoot, farmer boy. No, Hugh, come back. You're great at tutorials. Hugh, how dare he share my name? I can't do the voice while also doing the accent. Great job, intern. Look, he's got 2 X's on his ECG. By the way, ECG and EKG are the exact same thing. It's just electrocardiogram. But the whole thing is, they use K sometimes because cardio starts with the K sound rather than the C sound. Oh, one moment. Alright, I'm back. Huh. I wonder, why is his heart skipping so much? Is he feeling overwhelmed lately? How was that? Me overwhelmed? How dare you! Ugh, you wasted too much of my time. I've got an important speech to give that I'm 100% not nervous about. And I need the best possible medical care. If you fancy med grads want to still have your job tomorrow, you better come treat me at my rally. Does K and C have 2 different sounds? Well, if you say ECG versus EKG, somebody might think it's not the electrocardiogram. But if you say EKG, people are more likely to associate it with the electrocardiogram. Also, I want you to take 3 guesses who this asshole is based off of. It's not just a pointless duplicate. No, it's not. I like your voices for Ian and Paige. Thank you! Thank you! Oh god. I know, I already know some. Yeah. Exactly, Indy. You got it. You got it. I need to find games where I can practice and not feel bad about not practicing. Real. Fuck. Fuck. Christ almighty. Pressing it. Well, yes and no. Well, it is a little bit unsettling at first. I only made 2 mistakes? Really? Damn. That seemed to work well enough. Good job. Oh no, he's back. Here we go. What is the meaning of this? I step away for 1 second, and you think you can get away with using some shabby long-distance treatment on me? Ridiculous. Disrespectful. I came here for the highest quality doctors, personalized care. Whatever happened to that? You, the disheveled-looking dropout behind the screen thingy. Bitch, I'm still in fucking high school. Or I was in high school and now I'm in college, bitch. Fuck you. I'm not actually upset behind that. I'm just like, damn, bro, you're mean. I demand to know who you are. I'm reporting you to your superiors. What's your name? Ah! This is what I'm talking about. You think you can ignore me when I'm talking to you? Cause I'm not in your fucking game, man. No manners around here. Do you know who I am? I'm Richard Hugh. I'm the nation's bloody health secretary. Trying to pass off my delicate operation to some intern in the basement. How dare you? I'm fine. Just wait until I tell the cable networks. If I'm not mistaken, wasn't your party completely okay with this whole Rhythm Doctor initiative? Details. When I signed off on that, I didn't think that I would get stuck with one of these bargain bin interns. Kinda tracks, don't you think? You really be calling shit out, damn. Oh god, okay. This is why I hated that president. I will not state my political opinions, but I will say, do you not notice that I am an NB, so... I would... I'm going to... I don't blame you guys for not knowing, especially since I had brought this up, but please refrain from making political comments and stuff like that. Just personally, I do understand where it came from, and I do understand that it is my fault. So I do not fault you guys at all. I'm just stating this for future reference. But I I will say I do agree. That is all. I need a glass of water. Holy shit, my fucking throat right now. No, it's okay. It's okay, guys. Don't worry about it. Okay, I'm gonna go get me another drink because I'm fucking ruining my throat doing Hugh's voice. So yeah, just don't worry about it. I entirely understand where it sprouted up from, and you guys are not in trouble at all. I'm just stating it for future reference. I need drinks.
Not.
How many shrimps do you have to eat before you make your skin turn pink? Eat too much and you'll get sick. Shrimps are pretty rich.
Alright, everybody, I am back with some iced tea. Or rather, been entertaining the chat with some sound redeems, I see. I got some water and I got some cold brew tea. Because I like doing that. But yeah, seriously, y'all, do not worry at all about that, so... Okay. Oh, fuck yeah, I got the blueberry tea. I've really gotta get a whole box of that shit. Alrighty. I can't stay here. This place is musty and it smells like shellfish. Bitch. Oh, you want purrs? You want purrs? Okay. You want... Wolf Runner, you're gonna kill me. I swear to God. Curious what this is? Yeah, it's just me purring into the microphone. The unfortunate thing about cold brew tea is that sugar does not dissolve as easily into it. It takes longer. Those purrs tickle my ears. I'm glad! Yes, that was me. Did it sound like a cat or something? I got really good at mimicking cat trills because when we had Hellcats, I don't know how you even do that. I'll show you later. But when it comes to like cat noises, I learned how to do them very well because I had a couple of Hellcats when I was little, and they like they loved being pet and everything like that. So they would just start purring up a storm, and I had this really talkative cat who just like all the time. Just trills constantly. And if not, she was meowing at you, and it was adorable. I miss having a cat. I can't wait to have a phone call with your supervisor. Good day! Well, that was something. Anyways, back to our jobs. There's an elderly gentleman who needs me, Mr. Stevenson. Meow? Yeah. He keeps dozing off, so I haven't been able to speak with him yet. He's experiencing some sort of heart block. I'll take care of it and get his x-rays done. There's a new patient here too. I haven't met them. Can you handle it for me? Let's split up. Thanks. Hi! Hey, just because I make cat noises doesn't mean I'm a cat. It's just that demons can make different noises depending on what they are. And since I am a angel, or at least a fallen angel, I learned how to do bird noises too. I specifically really like doing dove noises when I'm happy. Alright. Here we go, distant duet. Dear, could you help me? I took a fall and my heart feels off. Mrs. Stevenson, elderly patient's heart rate is being detected as uneven. Treat carefully and answer any questions she may have. Oh, night-night, Mantine! Night-night! Before we move on, there's another condition we've been noticing. I know that my elderly patient, Mr. Stevenson, has this type of rhythm, so you'll probably come across it. I am not a cat. This treatment is for patients with heart block. The heartbeats are regularly irregular. Because the heart signals aren't working properly, the beat comes out with this uneven feel. I think that's specifically from the sinoatrial node, the SA node, which is, I think, the natural pacemaker. 1 second. Yes, I got it right! The sinoatrial node, aka the SA node, is often referred to as the natural pacemaker of the heart. When that's not working correctly, your heartbeat is off. So they won't post out at a regular interval like what you've been used to. Think of it almost like swing music and hit them on the 7th beat. Yep, exactly like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Simple enough. Now, let's try a case for the 7th lands on a blocked beat. Nice, just like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright. Now, finally, let's go over a trickier type of heart block. The nurse will play some piano to help you. Did you know she used to be a musician? Whoa, lightning reflexes. See? Not too bad. Now, for this next case, we're splitting up to deal with multiple patients. Don't worry, I'm handling my patient Mr. Stevenson myself. You're handling one of our newer patients. If you encounter any of these swung rhythms, you'll be ready. Good luck. See you on the other side. See you on the flip side. Press the spacebar to begin. Thank you, dearie. Can you do me a favor? My husband, I think he's in here too, in another room. I'm worried about him. I usually call him every morning. Hello. Are you able to help? Oh, it seems you're only a finger. Fuck! God damn it, I fucked that up at the end. God, I was so close.
A.
That's fine. I'm okay with an A. I made 4 mistakes total. Wonderful woman on a worried woman's wellness. God! Wonderful work on a worried woman's wellness. Good lord. Goodness. I'm back. This shift is killing me. I feel like I'm running on an empty tank. I miss when we had a full staff around here. Ugh. My chest isn't feeling so hot. This is the part where usually Ian tells me this is usually the part where Ian urges me to take a break. Can't afford it today. I'll drink some water and keep pushing. Hey, actually, I need a favor from you. Can you keep an eye on my heart rate? I'll be fine, I think. It's just as a backup, you know? Ian should be back soon. We just need to hold out until handover. Huh? Here comes the nurse. She's holding a phone? I've never had such shoddy treatment at any medical establishment. It was those buffoons. They use that phone. They use that phony high-tech stuff. This music nonsense. Someone should fire those slackers. And one more thing, when I tell... Just another day. We've got work to do. Ready? Alrighty, this will probably be my last one. One second. Okay, hello. Everything's on my shoulders and now my heart feels like it's going to give out. Please help. Also, wait. Oh god, I got reminded of something. I'll show you after this is completed. Patient fell down the stairs, suspected broken femur. History of heart block requiring swung rhythmic defibrillation. Jesus fuck. This one actually has vocals, by the way. I've been trying to mimic one that you'll hear very as closely as I can. Boss stage.
I've been waiting for so long, waiting for my doctor to come. These aches been going on for days now, and I'm feeling slightly down.
I've been working night and day, haven't had a wink of sleep, but they've been waiting for so
I've
long,
been waiting for so long.
and I'm the one on call this week. Heartbeat, 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 heart, heartbeat, 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 heart. Good morning, Mrs. Stevenson. My name is Dr. Page, and I'm the consultant on call today. How are you?
Well, I'm better, thank you, but it's different
Understandably
when
so.
I move.
You might be getting pressure sores. Has the nurse come to change your position?
No, not since
Oh
the
dear,
morning.
we'll get her here. The x-rays come in now, and there's good news, sir. You haven't broken your tailbone and your hip isn't torn.
Heavens, I don't know why I let
Don't worry, it
myself
happens to
fall
the
on.
best of us, but more importantly, how are you feeling?
I'm okay.
Everything well at home?
I think so,
Great,
but
we'll get you discharged tomorrow then. Is there anything else, sir?
well, yes, my wife hasn't called since yesterday. We always
Okay,
talk once
yes,
a day, and
of course. We'll get the nurse to call her up and see if she's Oh dear. There my pager goes again.
Fuck.
Give me strength to carry on. Thank you, sir. Have a good rest.
But doc, this chat on my way.
She's just got a call, okay? I should have been done at 6. sorry I was never there. You see a thing and call this week. I'm bad at getting any sleep. I'd love to catch up, I really would. But they've been waiting for
And I'm pausing for a reason.
so
Gets funny, so.
You can do it. Come on, hurry up.
There you were, handover was an hour ago.
sorry,
What
I'm
took
late.
you so long?
I'm so sorry. My mother had another episode. The carer's running late. I couldn't just leave her there. I called up the hospital to try and let you know, but I guess they didn't.
Oh, no, they. I'm sorry to hear
It's
that.
fine. Thanks for covering, Ada. I really appreciate it. I hope the patients didn't give you too much trouble.
No, not at all. Hey, okay, so Mr. Stevenson had his fall yesterday. He's doing fine, but we still don't know if it was mechanical or syncope.
He doesn't remember?
No, X-rays are all clear.
No history of AF?
Not on the records.
Aspiration pneumonia?
Yeah, I didn't perfect this one, but it's okay. It's kind of hard. I can take it all from here. Thank you, both of you. You did great. Thanks, man. Ada, you look exhausted. You should clock out. I can handle everything. Yeah. I'll grab something to eat and make my way out. Intern, thank you. That was a real rough one. We couldn't have done it without you. Starting to feel like you're the glue holding this place together. Good luck with the next shift. When you're ready, maybe you can drop by the vending machine. I'm starving. I'm probably gonna end after this. Dr. Page seems to be somewhere else. Vending machine! Yeah! I'm gonna head off now. Alright. I'm planning on ending here soon anyway, so it's fine. It was lovely seeing you as well, Wolfie. Thank you! Kiss, kiss, mwah, mwah. 8 years of med school for dinner from a vending machine. Not as glamorous as I told my friends it would be. Oh, there she is! Third day in a row of putting off groceries. There's just never any time. Too tired. Just need to go home. Eat this protein bar, eat chips, collapse, and get up in time for my next shift. Bye-bye, Wolf Runner. Bye-bye. You see. Excuse me, Dr. Page? Oh, hi there, Haley. Hi there. Haley, right? Yep. I wanted to, ask you something. What's that? I know that I'm supposed to be staying in my room and not recovering and all that, but would it be okay if I went on a trip and then came right back? My grandma, she asked me for a favor. Her hometown is out west near the desert, but she can't leave to go visit. We have some distant family out there and she wants me to deliver these keepsakes to them. And she asked me to take pictures too. She hasn't seen the desert landscape in her hometown in so long. It's where she grew up. See ya, Wolf. See ya. I know I'm not supposed to leave, but please, I'll come right back. I'm not sure. Decker will completely explode on me if he hears about this. I'm actually clocked out for today. I need to head home. But this sounds important to you. I'll take it to Ian. Let's figure something out. Thank you! Leaving a hospital care to take some pictures and deliver a box? Isn't there probably some driver app that'll do that for you? Plus, you can just print out some royalty-free desert photos or something. Ian, please. It's important to her. Fine. He can't say no to her! Actually, maybe this could work. I've been working on the Rhythm Doctor program, and it should be able to work even further ranges than we've been using. Further out from the hospital's computers. This could be an opportunity for the intern to help me test it out. If the connection holds a few towns over, then we'll be able to tell Dr. Adega that we can treat even more patients. People won't even need to leave their homes to get treatment. Elderly patients and mobile patients, it could be helpful. And someday, the waiting room will be nice and empty. So, we'll let her go out for a day? Yeah, let's do it. Go clock out, Ada. Thanks for all the help. And for you, you're going to follow Haley on her train trip out west. Keep an eye on her and administer any treatment she needs. This will be a great way to test the connection and push its capabilities. Good luck! I will probably not be playing through these because my voice is fucked. And yeah. One more thing before I hop off though. Ian, I know I should have finished this right up. I swear, this job is going to take years off my lifespan. Ian, I know I should have finished this right up during my shift, but I'm straight up going to die from exhaustion. Can you write it up, please? You're very sweet and handsome. I'm pretty sure that this is actually Ian's, but, you know. Alrighty. So, what did y'all think of Rhythm Doctor? This is something that I've been playing on and off for a good while. There's an OST up on YouTube. How's the games going? I was just about to finish, actually. I kind of destroyed my voice for the sake of trying to play a character who's, you know, just a fuck-ass bastard. So I kind of, need to take a break, and yeah. Alright. But yeah, basically, I just I kind of broke my voice, so I need to take a break, and I'm probably gonna raid out to Jev simply for the funsies, if he's still streaming at least. I know he was earlier, I don't know if he still is. One second. He is not. That's alright. I can raid out to somebody else. Oh goodness. Let me see. How do I get to the... Oh, right. There we go. Perfect. Okay. I don't know if I should raid out to somebody. I think I should, but, you know. Here we go. There's a creator dashboard. Let's fucking go. Let me see. If there's somebody who's... I don't know. Is somebody playing Rhythm Doctor? Right now? Besides me? Somebody is, and they only have one viewer. I don't know. I don't know. I think it'd be nice to raid out to him. Oh, they're only on 30 seconds. Oh my god, 30 minutes in. Oh, and they're doing Act 5. Sweet. Alrighty. I'm gonna send y'all along to them. Alright. Y'all ready? Have fun! I've been Carmen Eros. It has been a pleasure having you down in my mansion in hell. And that's the show. I'll see you at a later date. Bye-bye! What? Holy shit. I learned something. Holy fuck. Alright. I just saw something, that's all.